Hi, my name is Bill McIntyre, and I am the General Manager of Franklin Covey Japan and the Senior Vice President of Franklin Covey International. And I'm here today at Franklin Covey headquarters in Salt Lake City, Utah. And here with me is Shon Covey, the author of The Leader in Me, co-author of The Leader in Me, and 4 Disciplines of Execution, and the author of 7 Habits of Highly Effective Teams. Shon?
Yeah, good to be with you, Bill, and good to meet you all, and hope everything's well. So I've been at Franklin Covey for 32 years, something like that. And my father was Stephen Covey, and so I was raised with the 7 habits in my home, and it was pretty amazing to grow up under his tutelage. And but I love this company. I love what we do. I think that we teach principle-centered leadership, and I think more than ever before in today's world, with all the craziness and the contention and the conflict, we need principle-centered leadership more than ever before. So, pleasure to be with you today.
Great. And being Dr. Covey's son, you must have a lot of great stories about your father and growing up together and teaching you the 7 habits.
Yes. Yeah. He when he was a professor and was raising us kids, I always say that we were kind of his guinea pigs, experimented on us. But before he had written the 7 Habits book, before he had named the habits, he was teaching us the concepts behind the habits, always, right? So I remember one time, he took me and my brothers and sisters, like 5 of us, to this architect friend of his, who was designing an entire mall, a giant mall with like 3 stories. And he took us to the blueprint room. And he said, "Kids, come look at this. We have these giant blueprints." And big page after page after page, and the guy was flipping these pages, and then he was teaching us about goal setting. And he basically said, before you can build this building, you gotta have this blueprint. The same thing goes for your life. Before you can plan your life, you gotta before you live your life, you gotta plan it out. You gotta set goals, what's your mission, and so on. And so, he was teaching begin with the end in mind, years before he had named it as a habit.
Amazing. So, speaking of the 7 habits, what habit has been most important to you in your life? Or do you have a particular habit that you like best?
Yeah, I do. For me, most important habit, the one that I like the most, I think is habit 5. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. The reason why is that most people think they're good listeners, and they stink. Because listening is both an attitude and a skill. And so the idea of, to really understand another person, you've got to, listen with the intent to understand. You've got to reflect back what the other person is saying and feeling with your own words, right? And most people listen with the intent to reply. And I'm not saying I'm great at it, but I try and I understand the technique and the skill. But I think it's a powerful thing. It's the most important part of communication is really that habit 5, seeking first to understand.
Yeah, I felt the same way. I think habit 5 has really been the one I need to work on the most.
Yeah.
As well as one of the most important. The other one I found was habit 1, because you really got to just take charge of your life.
Right.
And that's why your father labeled it habit 1, right?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
So I think the book came out like 35 years ago.
Right.
And how are the habits still relevant today? I mean, a lot has happened since then.
Yeah.
Are they as important today as they were when your dad wrote the book?
Yeah, I think the habits are more important than when he wrote the book in 1989.
Why is that?
It's because they're more relevant because the greater the challenges, the greater the conflicts, the greater the need for these principles. And as you look around and you see cultures that are conflicting, you see political parties that are alienating each other, and you see challenges inside of homes, between people, between spouses, and between children and parents. These issues seem to be exacerbated today for lots of different reasons. I think social media, for example, with teenage kids is really, harmful when it's done too much. And so these principles are timeless. This is why this book is still a bestseller in every country in the world. It hasn't fallen off at all. It's only gained in popularity and in, how well known it is. because it is so relevant. I mean, think about the idea of thinking win-win, right? You don't see that a lot, especially in politics. You don't see it in a lot of areas, right? But the idea is mutual benefit, right? We will be better if I find a solution that works for you and for me. And what you see today is win-lose mentalities, right? Just trying to stomp on people and get ahead. Win-lose will work temporarily, but right in the long run, you'll go for lose-lose. You'll end up losing at some point.
Yeah, I think there's a great quote by your dad. It's something like, the bigger the challenges we face, the more relevant the habits become.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
And that's really, I think, what you're just expressing. Yeah. So they are more valid today than they were 35 years ago, because we're facing bigger and more challenges today.
Totally.
You know, here at Franklin Covey, we work with corporations, companies, and we teach leadership and develop staff and leaders. We also work in education. What does it mean when we talk about as a company, from classroom to boardroom? What does that really mean?
Yeah, it means that these leadership principles apply to kindergartners, right? 5-year-olds. And they apply to elementary school and primary school and secondary school. And then they apply, inside the home. And then inside, if you're a new worker inside of a company, right? You're maybe an individual contributor, they apply. They apply if you're a manager. They apply if you're a leader of a division. They apply if you're a boardroom person, right? So it's classroom to boardroom, and it's so true. And we're doing this as a company right now. We're in 8,000 schools in 60 plus countries. We're into thousands of corporations across the world. And for the first time now, we've got people that were taught and developed in Leader in Me schools, learned the 7 habits, learned the 4 disciplines of execution, coming into the workforce with this know-how, right? And there's going to be a great harvest in the future when you've got millions of these kids in the workforce making decisions for their company about what kind of training and development they should have.
Do you know of any other company in the world that can really train little children and corporate leaders, and develop them all through that whole spectrum, that whole?
No, I think we're unique in all the world. I can't think of anyone else that really does this and does it well. And we're credible, right? We're credible at all those levels. We're really good in the home, we're really good in schools, we're really good with corporations. So it's a really unique thing. I think we know leadership better than anyone else in the world. We really do. We know what it means to be a leader. It is a choice, not a position, and what principle-centered leadership means, the 4 roles of leadership. And that applies to all levels of any organization.
What are some of the challenges? I mean, think of big organizations or companies specifically. What do you think some of the big challenges companies around the world are facing, and why would what Frank Covey's offering in 7 habits help?
Yeah, well, I think you face low trust cultures, right? And it starts there. It's on executive teams, on teams of all kinds. You face people being very unclear about what the path, what goals, their wildly important goals, the lack thereof, right? So that's a big problem. You face the challenge of command and control styles of leadership, right? That nobody wants to be commanded and controlled. They want to be trusted and inspired, right? And then the alignment of systems. People don't have the right systems in place. Like 4 disciplines of execution is a powerful goal achievement system, right? And most organizations have far too many goals or have poorly written goals, and everybody's on a different page, right? So all these, slow trust and lack of purpose and vision, and the command and control style and misalignment is causing havoc in all kinds of organizations.
And we see that all over the world, not just in the US or in Japan.
No, it's consistent everywhere, right?
Yeah. Another thing facing the world today is in the rapid change that society is facing is this emergence of AI.
Yeah.
And how do you think we become relevant in an era where AI seems to be taking over what humans are doing?
Yeah. Well, I think it's both a threat and an opportunity. On the threat side, people will maybe try to replace our ideas with, an AI bot and what it suggests. It could be ripping off our intellectual property and that kind of thing, right? But I think it's more of an opportunity because being human is going to be more important than ever before. So the other day we went through with Paul Walker, our CEO, and the executive team that I'm part of for the company. We went through the speed of trust in 2 days. And we all, at one point, we all just looked at the 14 trust behaviors and said, 13 behaviors of trust. That AI can't do this.
Yeah.
Right? AI doesn't teach you how to talk straight. It doesn't teach you how to right wrongs. It doesn't teach you how to, make connections and so on. And so I think it's an opportunity for us to, really take the bull by the horns when it comes to saying we are about human development, right? Humans in this age of AI are going to be more important than ever before.
Yes.
How they learn and grow, and connections and relationships will never go away, right? And AI will try to push them away, and they're only going to be more important. So teaching how to develop these relationships is going to be so key.
Yeah, I feel like AI is trying to replace the humans. That makes the human skills all the more.
Yeah,
it makes it even more.
Yeah.
Well, you're going to be in Japan soon.
Yeah.
And you're going to be speaking to many of our clients there, and both in the education sector and within the corporations, businesses. What message do you want to share with them, both education leaders and business leaders in Japan? Is there something you want to just share with them? Or?
Well, I'm just say I'm really excited to come to Japan. I've been there many times. I can't wait to get my Kobe beef.
That's great.
And I'm going to take my son with me, and we're going to be doing some work and also touring across the country. I'm excited about it. I'm excited to visit your office and meet with clients, both on the education side and the corporate side. And the message in the speeches I'm going to be giving is just going to be around principle-centered leadership, why it's so important. And I'll talk some about the 7 habits, the relevance of the 7 habits today, and how the 4 disciplines of execution is such a powerful framework for goal achievement as a team, right? More so than it is something you do individually. It's really designed for teams and organizations. And I can't wait to share all this wonderful content with Japan.
Great.
With your translation capabilities.
Great. Oh yeah. Right. Thank you very much, Sean.
Okay. Thank you, Bill.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
See ya.